Before there can be a judgment, a clear warning must be given. The judgment warning in both Quran and Bible is upon us. The messenger of the warning has come and gone. Now the judge is about to take his seat. The Ancient of Days, as warned in both Injil and Quran, you will be judged according to what's in the books. What books? The Injil, for one. The judgment is about exclusion by definition, not inclusion. The Injil has been opened, the seals broken, yet there are those who dispute that without knowledge. I have provided the key and how to use it. The fools and ignorant refuse to check out to see if it is correct. What else would you call them? Perhaps disbelievers? If you provide directions and a map, yet the person disputes/disagrees with you and refuses to even look at the map, what would you call that? It is easy, very easy, to prove or disprove what I am saying/revealing. Just use the key. I have provided the key, how to use it, in clear examples. So why do they dispute in ignorance? That's what the Quran calls fools. People who dispute without knowledge, which means they are stupid and choose to be stupid when they could easily verify the truth of it by just checking. Then they could reject or accept either way based on knowledge. But they chose to be fools, dispute without knowledge. There is nothing mysterious, nefarious, nor hidden about what I'm teaching, saying, revealing. I have revealed the source openly, the method and examples of my conclusions. So everyone is without excuse. The last thing you want is to appear before the judge and be asked, what was wrong with what I said? And your only answer is no answer at all, when you could have easily checked to verify. Does anyone read the scriptures, study the scriptures? The scriptures are the basis and underpinning of the message of all the prophets. It is the reason why the NOI exists. How can a bird fly without wings? The scriptures are the wings of the NOI. No wonder the NOI is flailing around, stumbling around. No matter what they tell you, the NOI is drying up, failing. It's being consumed, as the prophecy states, quote, whom the Lord will consume with his mouth and destroy upon his bright appearing, end quote. The Son of Man is not here to convert anyone. He's here to separate the niggers/devils/ungrateful children, all who offend, from the righteous. Read if you dare. Demons are the scripture's equivalent of niggers, black-faced Caucasians, the chaff mingled in with the wheat. If you are a demon, he wants you to remain a demon. Please let me disabuse you of thinking that he came to save everyone. Better read again. The doing unrighteously, let him do unrighteously yet. And the filthy, let him be made filthy yet. And the righteousness, let him do yet. And they that are holy, let them be made holy yet. End quote. Does that sound like he wants to convince you of anything? You missed the point. The entire point of this 6,000-year exercise is to remove or separate out the rebellious brown germ. That's the mystery of Babylon. America was designed for that very purpose. You put gold in a furnace of affliction to purify, to separate out all the impurities. If you are going to mix them back in, then what is the point? Now, every demon, nigger, fag, liar, thief is proudly manifesting themselves for all to see. Freedom, 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 free America. Ha, ha, ha. Freedom to expose who you really are. Just keep doing your thing. Mr. George Bush has expired. He departs with all the honors that America can provide. It doesn't matter that he was a bloodthirsty killer of thousands of innocent women and children, some say hundreds of thousands, in his so-called Gulf War. America has a penchant for honoring murderers, rapists, oppressors, etc., such as Washington, Jefferson, etc. Yet they travel the world accusing and persecuting others for far less than what is and has been committed here by them. The scriptures hold and reveal every secret that they have for the earnest, diligent seeker. The story of Abraham sacrificing Isaac is a story about the bushes. In the story, Abraham is symbolic of the will of the Son of Man, or Jonah. It's an extension of the Jonah Nineveh story. Isaac is symbolic of the remnant of the original nation /NOI, who had been bound in bondage by Gog/Magog/Dajjal, America, Britain, and false Israel. The NOI/Nineveh, according to Jonah, was scheduled to be destroyed 40 years after Elijah's departure because of their turning away from Moses/Elijah's teachings and embracing the golden calf/Sunniism and other pseudoscience such as Scientology. But just at the time their destruction was to take effect, Nineveh repented, and Jonah's/Abraham's hand was stayed. Instead, a ram whose two horns were ensnared in the bushes was slaughtered in Isaac's place. The book of Daniel establishes the identity and symbolism of the ram. The ram is false Israel. Its two horns are America and Britain. So with that understanding, we can clearly understand the story. The original nation/NOI was scheduled for destruction. Jonah wanted it gone, as he was angry over its backsliding, disregard, and misrepresentation of the messenger's teachings. After 40 years, he was ready to execute the death sentence, 2016. But at the last hour, Nineveh/NOI repents, which forces Jonah to stay his hand, as he, being a just man, would not execute someone who is in repentance. The NOI, in their repentance, turns to Jonah/Son of Man, and he is seated, quote, when thrones were cast down and the Ancient of Days sits, end quote. Seated, the Ancient of Days turns his attention to the beast, which is the two-horned ram, who is ensnared in the bushes. Quote, their doom will come as a snare, end quote. America and Britain are both ensnared in the Middle East, ensnared by the Bushes, Papa and Baby Bush. It was George H. and George W. Bush that got America and Britain entangled in the Middle East, beginning with the so-called Gulf War, followed by his sons WMD Forrest. It's their entanglement in the Middle East that will bring about the events that will see their destruction by fire. Chapter 17 highlights the fact that false Israel is the shot caller in regards to America/Gog and Britain/Magog, the two harlots. However, all three are under the auspices of the dragon/Saudi Arabia, who they are dependent on for their life's blood, the blood/oil that fuel their technology and military. The harlot, America, is the most hated of the harlots. The beast, China and India, are planning her demise. Obama, the scarlet beast, is poised to make a move in Africa. He, Obama, will lead a united non-Islamic African coalition along with China and India against America. Chapter 17 cautions us to keep an eye on Obama. The beast who was, is not, yet is. He was president, but is not, quote, yet is, end quote. Yet is. What is that? This is the chapter of mystery, quote, Mystery Babylon, end quote. Quote, the beast who was, is not, quote, the woman sitting on 7 mountains, end quote. Quote, the harlot, end quote, etc. Yet, quote, the beast that was, is not, yet is, end quote, is the most mysterious, the most challenging. This beast is Obama. This chapter, like all the 22 chapters, are important. Yet this chapter brings all the other chapters into focus concerning the actors and the events following the, quote, war in heaven, end quote, where the Shia rise and defeat the dragon, Saudi Arabia, along with Gog/America, Magog/Britain, and the Antichrist/false Israel. The, quote, war in heaven, end quote, where the dragon is defeated, will be followed by the war in Europe, caused by a vengeful or wrathful dragon, the rider on the red horse, who takes peace from the earth, quote, west, end quote, where they will in war slaughter each other. The events of chapter 17 addresses what follows during and in wake of that war. America and Britain, Gog and Magog, driven out of the Middle East violently, then driven out of Europe violently, only to be invaded/attacked at home, defeated and dragged in chains to as a nothing people, as was their beginnings, to finally be forced back into the hills and caves of Europe, from whence they came. Quote, in the sweat of thy face shall thou eat bread till thou return unto the ground, Europe, for out of it wast thou taken, for dust, refugees, exiles, castaways, thou art, and unto dust thou return. Quote, end quote. Adam/Britain was made from the dust of the earth. Refugees, exiles, castaways from Europe. Mr. Ishmael says that the anointed wouldn't run out when the wolves are at the door. Really? Really? That's exactly what he did, in spades. When the NOI was in trouble under assault by lying, betraying Wallace, where was Farrakhan? Did he stand up for the messenger? Did he fight for the NOI? Hell no, hell no, and hell no. He pissed on the messenger and his memory. He joined the trashers. He ran away and hid. Not just hiding, but he walked away from Islam altogether. What would you call begging Master to crawl back on the stage and shake his ass? He hid so deep of Master's ass that it took a brother to go dig him out. Quote, all before me were liars and thieves, end quote. You have so-called, quote, student ministers, end quote, week after week, just stand up and tell bald-faced lies, which in itself is revealing. As a true apostle, messenger would not need to lie or have lies told to support them. Mr. Ishmael, for instance, insists that Mr. Farrakhan, quote, never deviated, end quote. What planet is he on? What do you call bad-mouthing the messenger, tearing down the NOI? It didn't fall. They tore it down. Then abandoning the believers, who he claims were left in his charge, running off to be Master's minstrel. Never deviated? Liar. Think of it. The so-called anointed of Allah begging Master to crawl up on the stage to shake his ass. Think of it. If I'm lying, my life plus all my wealth to whomsoever can prove that anything I've said is a lie. He only ran back to recover/live off what he trashed when his back was against the wall, when he had nothing else, was broke, and Massa had rejected him. He said it. He said it himself. He was broke and no prospects. If Massa had let him shake his ass, he would be what he exactly is, a nigger shaking his ass for Daddy Master. He says enough to appear to be with the messenger, but it's just a facade. He's got to keep the dough soft, puffy, and rolling in. If he wants me to stop telling the truth on him, then he should take the messenger's name off his crap. Do like Wallace. Walk away and do your own thing. Be a Belialian, a Farrakite, whatever. Just leave the messenger out of it. If no one wants to defend the messenger, I will, with and until my last breath. The Injil and Daniel, both sealed books, are the keys to unlocking the entire Bible. The entire Bible is under a veil, protected from the eyes, mind, and hearts of the devils and their demons. I have barely scratched the surface in that which I have revealed of both Daniel and the Injil, which leaves most of the Bible still veiled. Fraud protection. I have revealed the most relevant when its relevancy is relevant. Quote, all before me were liars and thieves, end quote. Elijah couldn't make that statement, as he would be denouncing all the prophets before him, or at least Farad, depending on how you interpret the verse. The verse could not be taken as a general statement because it would be condemning all the previous prophets and messengers. No, it has to just refer to one's predecessor. So that would eliminate Elijah, as he didn't ever denounce Farad. It could refer to Farrakhan, as he did denounce Elijah as a liar and fraud within days of the messenger's departure. But then, if that is true, then according to the verse, Farrakhan is the son of man, and Elijah was a liar and fraud. The Angel is a sealed book, a mathematical book that, as itself states, can only be deciphered/decoded by the Lamb/Son of Man. The angel is the Son of Man's credentials, so that the righteous, the lovers of truth, would not be misled. He, the Son of Man, is not hiding what is revealed in the hidden seals of the angel, nor hiding the fact that he is revealing what is hidden in the seals. So, if anyone claimed to be the Son of Man, then he should demonstrate it by breaking the seals and revealing what is hidden beneath them. They can't, and you know they can't. If they could, they would be revealing it. So they are without excuse, and so are you. Quote, and with all the deception of wickedness for those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth so as to be saved. For this reason, God will send upon them a deluding influence so that they will believe in what is false. End quote. Quote, till thrones were cast down and the Ancient of Days did sit. End quote. Quote, then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord will slay/consume with the breath of his mouth and bring to an end by the appearance of his coming. End quote. Combine these two verses and what they mean. Thrones are symbolic of authority. The authorities of some organization will be cast/thrown down, kicked out. Kicked out by who? The throneless. This coincides with the leader who will be defeated by truth, the revealing of who he really is, and kicked out, cast down, when the Lamb is made manifest/seated on the throne. The authorities of the NOI are about to be overthrown from within. The truth about the, quote, anointed, end quote, reaches them, and they take action against the liar, deceiver, kicking him out, along with all those ministers, laborers who followed him. The angel is a sealed book, which requires a specific key to unlock or break its seals. The angel was revealed to the world by Isa 2,000 years ago, stating that there is only one person in the entire universe who is worthy and able to unlock and reveal its revelations. Just one. That would be the Son of Man, Suleiman. There is no ambiguity in that statement. It's at once a challenge to the dragon, false prophets, demons, son of perdition, and anyone else who are pretenders or lamb wannabes. A worthy of challenge as the Quran's challenge to produce a Quranic verse. The idea only the Lamb is able to break the seals is the impetus of the legend/myth of King Arthur's sword. Break the seals, reveal the meanings, prove yourself, but they can't, which reduce the revelator to tears. The angel is the credentials of the Son of Man, so that the true believers would not be deceived by liars, thieves, and the main liar, the quote, mouth, unquote, the son of perdition, Mr. Anointed. There are 5 nations revealed in the angel. Some say there are 6, the so-called red nation called Native Americans. It's been proven that they are an extension of the so-called Asian Indian nation from which they broke off from 35,000 years ago. Their solution to the future Yakub problem. They thought that they could hide over here for most, if not all of, the 6,000-year reign of Yakub's creation. All the tribes had their own solution to Yakub's coming nightmare. The Arab tribes' idea was to mix in with them. That's why many are so white today. All the tribes disagreed with Dr. Shabazz, who took his tribe from the so-called Middle East into what is now known as Africa to strengthen and prepare his tribe for the epic battle to come. The original nation is symbolized as the 7 spirits, 7 lampstands, and 7 eyes. The original nation is not included as one of the creatures, as the original nation is not a creature. The original nation was not created. It was self-created, the creator of all the other nations, which came from the original nation. The 7 eyes of the Lamb are the original nation, with the Lamb being the 8th, the all-seeing eye. Each of the 4 creatures were full of eyes before and behind. The eagle had 6 wings, as did all the other nations. However, the eagle was dominating the other nations. This is Yakub's creation, which was given rule for 6,000 years, a rule of mischief and blood shedding. The 2 top wings of the eagle are maternal Caucasians, meaning they are original with Caucasian mothers. The top 2 wings of each nation are original, mixed but original. They are Islamic. In the case of the eagle, they are the Shia. The bottom 4 of the eagle's wings represents the paternal Caucasian/devil nations. The 7th, not a wing, is the Lord or God of the eagle, Satan. The bottom 2 wings are Caucasian, mixed but Caucasian. The middle are capitalists, which is a religion. They are jinn/devils. America oppressed and continues to oppress the original nation. Britain occupied the Asian nations. Europe colonized the African nations. Russia dominated the Oriental nations ideologically via communism. The 24 elders were clothed with white robes, which means dominated by the white nations. They had crowns, which are the Shia nations. Each of the 4 dominated nations had 6 wings for a total of 24. The Caucasian nations are grafted nations, so they don't qualify as elders. The nations under the rule of Satan, the Antichrist, cast down the Shia. The UN, which is controlled by false Israel, Gog and Magog, authorizes Gog and Magog to invade Iraq, their gateway into the Middle East, which disrupted the power balance in the Middle East, casting the Shia into the margins. (1990) Gog, Magog, and Dajjal ascended into heaven called the Middle East. America invaded Iraq at the request of the dragon, the House of Saud, and Dajjal, false Israel. Gog, Magog, and Dajjal, having ascended into heaven in 1990, disrupted the balance of power in the region, destabilizing it, and forcing the Shia, the dominant powers, into the margins. This was the dragon, Gog, Magog, and Dajjal's opening bid to take control of the Middle East. Dajjal wants the land, control of all of it, for the glory of greater Israel. The dragon wants the elimination of the Shia and total regional religious control. Gog wants control over all their oil reserves, conflicting ambitions, agenda, but one common goal: destroy the Shia. Gog, Magog, and Dajjal, having ascended into heaven in 1990, are challenged by the two witnesses, the Shia. The Shia struggled with Gog, Magog, and Dajjal for 28 years, 1990 to 2018. The Shia begins to gain strength and push back. Then starts the war in heaven, which begins with Gog, Magog, and Dajjal pushing hard against Iran and Syria at Dajjal's and the dragon's urging. Dajjal, false Israel, and the dragon, Saudi Arabia, are behind Mr. Trump's attempts to put Iran into a stranglehold with vicious economic attacks, sanctions, embargoes, or acts of war. And at the time of the end shall America, Britain, false Israel, and the house of Saud push at Iran, and Iran shall come against them like a whirlwind, with their army, navy, and air power, backed by Russia and Farad. And Iran shall spread out all over the Middle East, even into Africa. Iran will lay siege to and take false Israel, but these shall escape out of his hand, even Edom, Moab, and the chief of the children of Ammon, which is Jordan. He shall stretch forth his hands upon all the countries, and the land of Egypt shall not escape, but he shall have power over the treasures of gold and silver, and over all the precious things of Egypt, and the Libyans, Ethiopians shall be at his steps. But tidings out of the east and out of the north, China/India, shall trouble America. Therefore, Mr. Trump will go forth with great fury to destroy and utterly to make away many. As a result of Mr. Trump's economic war against Iran, a hot war breaks out in heaven where the dragon and Michael battle for control of heaven. Farad and his angels, the Shia, battle Saudi Arabia / the dragon with his angels, America, Britain, and false Israel. America / Gog, Britain / Magog, and Dajjal / false Israel had ascended into heaven / Middle East in 1990 and refused to leave. Now Gog / America has decided to make a permanent residence in heaven called Mid-Heaven in the Injil and Middle East by the Kavi. Farad is raising his angels, the Shia, to challenge and expel Gog, Magog, and Dajjal. Farad and his Shia engage the dragon, Gog, Magog, and Dajjal. War breaks out. A great battle. The dragon, Gog, Magog, and Dajjal battle, and failing with all their weapons, all their strength, all their power, leads to a last desperate revenge attack called the Desolation of Appalment. Both all their power, all their weapons, they will not prevail. They will not only be met by a Farad-inspired and backed Shia, but even their brothers, the Russians, will oppose them. Farad's / Michael's presence will be felt and seen, but hidden from the American public. Farad is going to kick their asses out of the Middle East completely and forever. following the desolation of Apalmet and the utter defeat and expulsion of Gog, Magog, and Dajjal from heaven/Middle East, America, Britain go to war against North Korea, Russia, and Europe. Then the first of the four winds blow, the angel stepping down out of heaven, proclaiming the fall of Babylon/America and false Israel. Quote, after these I saw other angel stepping down out of the heaven, having authority great, and the earth was lit up out of the glory of him. And he cried out in strong voice, saying, she fell Babylon the Great, and she became dwelling place of demons and prison of every spirit unclean and prison of every bird unclean and having been hated. Unquote. America is Babylon. False Israel is Babylon the Great. The blowing of the four winds releases the three demons. Quote, and I saw out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the wild beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, spirits three unclean as frogs. They are four spirits of demons doing signs, which is going out upon the kings of the being inhabited whole to lead together them into the war of the day of the great of the God Almighty. End quote. The demons are the niggers, black Caucasians, who will be in open rebellion, insurrection. America will unveil her plans to send blacks to their death fighting in this great war that she started. Black genocide. Quote, kill the sons and let the females live. End quote. Blacks in open conflict with their oppressors will run to the NOI, many seeking to get shelter from the draft, but the NOI under control of the Ancient of Days will reject nearly half, separating out the chaff. During this time, the thrones or authorities of the NOI have been cast down, dismissed, rejected, the Ancient of Days seated, the blowing of the four winds which quicken the dry bones, the blacks in America and Britain, the Christian blacks / the Queen of the South, now awake, will rise up against those of the NOI / Nineveh who were blocking and suppressing Jonah's message. The angel, blaming the NOI for their not being ready to appear before the Son of Man. The true followers of Elijah Muhammad, the so-called pioneers pre-Farrakhan, called the first resurrection under the messenger, will rise up against the Farrakhan generation. Then some of the scribes and Pharisees said to him, quote, teacher, we want to see a sign from you, end quote. But he answered and said to them, quote, an evil and adulterous generation craves a sign, and yet no sign will be given to it but the sign of Jonah the prophet. For just as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the sea monster, so will the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. The men of Nineveh will stand up with this generation at the judgment and will condemn it, because they repented at the preaching of Jonah, and behold, something greater than Jonah is here. The Queen of the South will rise up with this generation at the judgment and condemn it, because she came from the ends of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and behold, something greater than Solomon is here. Mr. Trump will increase the pressure on Russia/Babylon, the city the strong, and the EU/city the great to stop trading or doing any business with Iran. Mr. Trump will demand stop purchasing their oil on threat of sanctions from America. Russia and the UE will resist and severe sanctions are imposed, such that the trade of Russia and Europe is not terminated, but it is crippled. War has broken out in the heaven/Middle East between the dragon Gog Magog, the Djal, and the Shia and Michael. All trade with the European Union has been terminated by Mr. Trump as they refuse to yield and support Mr. Trump's aggression and war against Iran. America/Gog, Britain/Magog, false Israel/the Djal, along with Saudi Arabia, have been defeated. Gog and Magog expelled, the Djal under siege and taken, with the Shia in firm control of the Middle East in possession of all the holy sites, including Mecca, Medina, and Jerusalem. The dragon, Saudi Arabia, angry/furious over America's failure and refusal to protect and restore the House of Saud's control over Saudi Arabia, holy sites, and the oil reserves, used its vast wealth stored up in America to bring about economic collapse in America and Europe, such that they begin to war with each other. The West is at war with itself. Some of them surge against others. The European Union's economy is the first to completely collapse. Then the winds begin to blow. The first of the four winds blows on America. The first three of the four winds are plagues. The plagues are the plagues of demons. The demons are the black-faced Caucasians who will wreak havoc on America with insurrection, cries of revolution, riots, refusal to be drafted in America's war. Then the resurrection, where the original people are called to be delivered. Those who were wise enough to have gotten their names in the Lamb's book, which is the registration rolls of the NOI. Doesn't matter if Elijah or Farrakhan. The rise of the dry bones. Many of the demons, those who were asleep in the dust, have also awakened to the call and respond by running to the NOI, only to be rejected. The separation and rejection of the chaff. Having been rejected, many will run back to Massa, who will be promising the world as they will only help fight America's enemies. An empty, hollow promise, as the Massa is planning for their genocide by war. Those of the original nation who didn't get their names registered will be left behind to suffer the hells and trials of the tribulation, along with the members of the NOI who are original but foolishly followed Farrakhan. They will have to endure the tribulation and have to battle their way across America with Mr. Trump's armies in hot pursuit, seeking to force them into military service. Those FOI/MGT whose faith has been restored will inspire and strengthen those originals who weren't registered, cleaning them up along the way. All the while, China and India's armies will be amassing all along the West Coast in preparations for invasion. They are the Red Sea, who Farad will make a pact with them to part and allow those originals who survived the tribulation to pass, as they prepare to close in on Trump's pursuing armies. In summary, Chapter 18 provides a look into the economical and social environment leading up to and during the tribulation period, in which is all but upon us. The war starts economically. Gog, Magog, Dajjal, and the dragon called America, Britain, false Israel, and the house of Saud will wage an economic war against Iran and Syria. They will hold the imminent threat of military war over the heads of the Shia. They had previously supported military action against Iran for approximately 8 years. Failing that, they turned their sights on Syria, as we find in the fifth seal. Their war against Syria, another 8-year failure, provokes the dragon/house of Saud, Gog/America, Magog/Britain, Dajjal/false Israel to increase their aggression against the Shia with severe destructive sanctions, economic war. The economic war against Iran will quickly escalate to military action, in which there will be full-fledged war against the Shia. The Middle East will be in flames/ablaze, a great battle in which the Shia will prevail, be victorious, defeating the House of Saud, Dajjal, America, and Britain. The Shia will be masters in the Middle East, evicting Gog, Magog, Dajjal, and the dragon. The war has started. It started firstly economically. It is about to turn hot and fiery. Quote, war broke out in heaven. The dragon and his angels fought, and Michael and his angels fought. But the dragon and his angels were vanquished. End quote.